his master this morning is distinguished Toastmaster Blake Smith. Today, Blake needs our help as he builds his itinerary for a cross-country vacation with his family. They like to visit national parks and monuments. So please listen up. Today, you are all park and recreational employees. Blake will call the name and location of the park, and it will be your job to tell us about it and why it should be on his must-see list. Please welcome the distinguished Blake Smith.
Distinguished Blake Smith, I like that. Acadia National Park in Maine, Toastmaster Robert Leading.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning, Robert.
I've been to many national parks, particularly out west, where most of them are. I have not been to Acadia National Park. It's in Maine. My wife and I would like to go. Beautiful park. I believe they have puffins there. That's one of the main things. Puffins are a cute little bird. They have quite a few of them up there. We have gone to Maine. We were visiting colleges for my kids, and we made this huge detour just to get into Maine because my wife wants to go to all 50 states. So we went there and ate at a restaurant, and we weren't disappointed because we got a very thick Maine accent from the waitress. So we felt like we had actually visited Maine. I wish I could tell you more about Acadia National Park, but I know that all the national parks are a wonderful experience, and I hope you could go to it. It is your duty.
Well done.
Casa Grande Neon Sign Park in Casa Grande, Arizona. Toastmaster Tim Linger.
Oh, there you go.
PTM.
Fortunately, I have been to Arizona. I've been very fortunate. I've actually visited all 50 states. Some of them multiple times, but I've never been to that particular national park. Oh, yes, hard to believe. I have heard that park rangers, in particular the federal park rangers, are highly revered. They're almost worshipped like a god. Not quite that high, but people seek them out and ask them questions. The ones that have elevated to a distinguished level get to wear a pink scarf. Now there's an inside joke on that, most of us don't know about it. I really wish that distinguished Toastmaster Carson Schaefer was here, because he'd be throwing rose petals after me. Because that's what they do with park rangers. And with that, I yield back.
All right.
I would like to point out that once you make DTM, you will understand this joke you just made. Dry Tortugas National Park. Toastmaster Robert Jackson. Brand new Toastmaster.
Yeah, Robert.
I've never been to this particular park, but I have been to others. And I'm a nature type of guy. I will advise each and every one of you guys to visit this park in
Florida Keys.
Florida Keys.
Key West.
Key West. I would assume it's very beautiful. I would assume it's very beautiful. Like God created nature, and I would love to visit Florida Keys National Park.
Woo!
And you
Denali National Park and Preserve in Alaska. Toastmaster Tim Conyers.
Now, Blake, you know I went to Acadia. Why didn't you give that one to me? The one in Denali. Now, that is one I was wanting to go see. However, we went to Acadia. And I can tell you a little about Acadia. It's in Maine. And it's near Camden, Maine. Now, Camden, Maine is very significant for me because I was born in Camden, South Carolina. It's also Camden, New Jersey. I think there's a Camden,
Ohio.
oh, Ohio. Thank you. But back to Acadia. We're gonna go on that loop. It's a long loop. So be ready to drive a long way. But we managed to sneak in before that entrance. And we were able to go down to the ocean. Now, if you want to see lots of rocks with islands out there, waves splashing, you don't want to go to the Pacific coast, go to Acadia National Park.
There you go.
Indeed, Tim doing the two-step conyers, all right. John Pennekamp, Coral Reef State Park in Florida, Toastmaster, Tim Glainer.
Yeah.
Too many tins.
Well, I got my diving certification there at the open water diving at park. John, where's Jordan? Jordan was with me. We got a certification together. And he's the only one that got sick on the truck, on the boat. But a friend of ours, Larry Green, a former member of his club, was on his dive at park to get his open water, and they were all in the water waiting for their instructors, and the boat started to sink. And the captain got up at SOS just before the boat went down, and the Coast Guard rescued them. And on their first checkout dive, the dive boat was on the bottom of the dam. True story.
Wow. I have indeed heard that story from more than one individual, so I will vouch for its veracity. Home for retired playground animals in Corona Park, Queens. Toastmaster Carmela Villara the third.
I knew that was coming.
Who's the queen of Corona? Who's the queen of Corona? Who's the queen of Corona?
Good answer.
Josie is the queen of Corona. It's really Rosie, but Josie. That's my wife, Josie, who grew up on Roosevelt Avenue and 103rd Street in Corona.
Oh.
She used to work that long.
Wow.
It's funny.
How funny is it?
Underwater, picture this. Actually, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Picture crystal clear water. It's about 30, 40 feet deep beneath the catamaran that you're on. And your job is to get in the water, snorkel. Don't worry if you don't know how to snorkel, we'll teach you. Snorkel and follow the trail lights at the bottom of the water. It gives you arrows and tells you what kind of coral reef you're looking at. It takes you all around. This place is called Buck Island. And it's between St. Thomas and St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Has anybody been there? Ugh. I implore you to go. Make it your duty.
Chiricahua National Monument in Arizona. Toastmaster J. Atul Shah.
Jay, Atul Shah.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
So, we're talking about a national park in Arizona.
Yes.
As Tim Linger said, I have followed in Tim Linger's footsteps. I too have been to Arizona.
Oh.
And there's 2 national parks there that we are learning about today. The first is the one that Tim Linger spoke about, the one that he hasn't been to. And there's one that I don't know about either. What is it called again?
Chiricahua National Monument.
Chiricahua sounds Indian. Sounds Indian. I should know. I should know. It's my duty to actually know this. I'm not doing my moral or legal obligation to my culture to know about this national park in Arizona. Where, Tim, have you been to that national park?
I have not.
Wow. Tim, have you been to that national park?
Nope.
Wow, okay. I have.
We have 3 Tims?
More.
I have, just not yet.
Well, maybe we should all go to that national park together. How about we have a group duty? Tom Patrick, will you make it your duty as president to corral that trip?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. This tabletop.
The Rangers wanted him to leave, and he said, no, must stay.
Oh.
There you go, man. Took 5 seconds to get over there. Kodachrome Basin State Park in Utah. Toastmaster Sean Essler.
So, as many of you may know, I'm a leader in Scouts. One of the things we talk about is your duty to country. Well, what can be a better duty to country than making sure that our young kids appreciate all these amazing parks? Now, what's very interesting about this particular park in Utah is when we're going through, we've actually got this little handbook of all these great things around this country. Believe it or not, this one is listed in full color, big page, 12-inch book, and it describes this park in great detail. So much so that every kid that was present at that particular meeting, Mom, Dad, can we go? Can we have a camp out there? Can we travel across the country? They kept coming up. It was so amazing. It looked so beautiful. Okay. But I'm sure that was the park they were talking about. There we go. Kodachrome Basin. Or some Utah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that was.
Meantime.
Might be that. Anyway, your duty, get out and see these great places. Absolutely amazing.
Okahana State Park in Hawaii. Toastmaster Carlos Benitez. Would you like me to repeat that? Or have you been there?
In 2020, when coronavirus broke out, I bought a camper, and I was gonna visit Corona Park. But I thought that's where the virus was gonna be, so I avoided it.
Makes sense.
But camping, truly, you have to get out and get a camper. It is so wonderful to then be able to go to visit all these parks that we've been hearing about. My favorite thing is that there's a little book. It's called a passport book. And when you go to the park, everyone has a unique stamp. And so I'm a stamp collector, a philatelic of national parks, county parks, state parks. I go there just to get the stamp from the park ranger. That's my favorite hobby. Make it your duty to get this little book and get it stamped. Thank you.
Smuggler's Notch State Park in Vermont. Toastmaster Tim Taylor.
Smuggler's Knot.
Notch. Smuggler's Notch.
You know, I haven't been to that one, but I do have a funny park story. But before I tell you about that, you know, it's my duty as a man in this club to wear a tie every week. And today I was driving here and I realized I forgot my tie and left it at home. So I called Linda Miller. I said, Linda, I forgot my tie. She goes, I'll bring you one. I said, thank you so much. And before she left the house, she tried it on, and she looked so good in it that she decided to wear it herself. But my wife and I used to live in California, and we drove all the way from Tennessee to California, and we drove through Zion National Park in the middle of the night. Who's been to Zion? It's the most beautiful park I've ever seen in my life. It was a full moon. I didn't know anything about this park. I didn't know it was going to be beautiful. There was a full moon, and you could see the mountains in the background. I said, we have to come back here. We did, but we went there that night, and my wife had to do her duty on this really bad. We didn't know where we were in the middle of nowhere. So we pulled to the side of the road. She went in the bushes, and when she came back out, a bunch of people drove right past us. And we saw them at the next exit where there was a bathroom. And we couldn't make eye contact, so that was a lot of fun.
Mr. Jones, with your butt. Kissimmee Prairie Preserve State Park. Toastmaster Gary Adams.
Hey.
Ready? Kissimmee Prairie.
I'd like all you to come to Kissimmee Prairie National Park. My name is Ranger Rick. Not known as the other Ranger Rick, but the real Ranger Rick. Now in Kissimmee Park, we have tents. Have you been in a tent before? What about this young man? He goes in a camper.
Have you been in a tent? We have barbecues, little barbecues out there. You can cook whatever you would like at our state park.
Gator?
Would like a vacation. I think every single one of you would like a vacation. You should come on down to Kissimmee to our park. And one thing we also have is we have bathrooms, just in case you have a little too much to eat. We have the bathrooms. We do have one way if you're in the park and you're not sure where the bathroom is. Just raise your hand and say, I got a duty, I got a duty. And we'll point you to the bathroom.
Yes, indeed, in Kissimmee, paint is a two-syllable word. Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park, Toastmaster Chris Eckling.
Where is this?
Oh, I thought you'd been there, Michigan.
Michigan. Now, you must go to Porcupine Mountains State Park in Michigan, because there's mountains and trees and mosquitoes, because it's Michigan, and you must go there. And Carlos, camper, really? I grew up in a tent camping, and we went to state parks like Porcupine Mountain State Park, where you must go, and we would drive into the park, and there'd be a campground, and we'd drive right past it. Because we were going to the middle of nowhere. My parents would go find a field with nobody around, and then we'd keep going and find another field. And then you have to get out your tent, because it's your duty to make your own tent. It's your duty to find a place that's flat, no rocks, and then you put your tent down. And then you have to stand up, and you're done with that, and walk clear 100 yards another direction and dig a hole, where that's your duty to dig the hole, so then you can do the duty. Very important. And so, speaking of duty, and we have a duty to not surprise anyone and have expectations. I was just in Georgetown, in DC, and everything is really old, but we were going to a burger place. We thought it was going to be a burger place. We walked in, it looked like it was going to be a Game of Thrones. It was not expectations, so do your duty, meet expectations. Thank you.
Wampatuck State Park in Massachusetts, Toastmaster Benjamin Urrutia.
Benjamin.
Benjamin.
Good morning, good morning. Well, I want to join my predecessors. I have not been there. Like many of us, when something like this is being called. I've been to one that you all have been to. It is the Winter Park Park. That is a good place to go. But I take my little kids, you know, that you see the train going green light, green light.
Good deal?
Yes, and then the train comes out. And then the little kids, hi, hi. No one replies, but they're very happy to raise their hand. As we do here when something is calling for volunteers, we raise our hands. And this is a great thing because I think that sometimes we have the duty to entertain someone, and this is a great way to do it. So, anytime that you're called on the duty, raise your hand.
Warmslow State Historic Site in Savannah, Georgia, Toastmaster Linda Miller.
Linda.
Well, I have been to Savannah, but not to their state park. However, I have been to a private state park.
Y'all's jobs is to tell me why this place should be on my list.
But it should be on your list, especially Wakaiba State Park. Especially because they have excellent, excellent. And shall I say, I went there with one of my very dear friends, Kelly. Kelly said, why don't we go camping? You're an old Girl Scout, let's just do it. So I went. The weather forecast was rain, rain, rain. So before I left, my husband said, you're not gonna make it out there. You are not gonna make it, Linda. I know you just need to cancel the whole trip. And for that reason, Alyssa, I said, absolutely not. I am going. I am going. So we went to Wakaiba State Park, pitched our tent, In the middle of the night, we got the downpour, and it was a downpour. We woke up in the middle of the night, and our sleeping bags were so soggy. We still stuck it out. Further in the middle of the night, we heard raccoons coming into our tent, raiding what little food we had. But the next morning, we had the best sunrise, and we cooked our pancakes. So there, that's why you need to go to Wekiva State Park.
Oh, right. Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada. Toastmaster Gina Resende.
I'm going to invite you to another trip. To Fire Ridge. No, after living in some capitals, great capitals, maybe in other continents and things, I decided to live in the forest all by myself. And I spent 2 years in the forest. Would you like to go there?
No.
I am 5 blocks from the beach. So I had this dog, and she adopted me. She had a family, but she adopted me. She was outside. And because I was alone and it was kind of dangerous, I had to protect myself, so I had a gun, a fake gun that was supposed to help you to put boots on. So I was sleeping in this cabin. Oh my God. Probably next time.
Last one, Little Debbie Park in Tennessee. Toastmaster Meredith Myers.
Yeah. All right, Meredith.
Little Debbie State Park in Tennessee. Well, the reason you need to come to Little Debbie State Park in Tennessee is because it's all you can eat, Little Debbie. And our cell service is awful. So no one's gonna bother you, and no one can take pictures and post them immediately of you eating as many Little Debbies as you can. We even have something called an OCP challenge. If you can eat 3 oatmeal cream pies in a minute, you get a lifelong supply. And it is your duty to attempt the OCP challenge because it is so much fun, and while you think you can do it, that beard guy couldn't even do it. Come on, Dave.
All right. And after reading all that, you'll find out about that other duty Gary was talking about. Madam Timer, do all our speakers qualify?
All qualified.
Please vote for 2, and we're going to take a 2-minute break. Thank you.